Hello and welcome into what I think is going to be the last, at least for now. So you want to get into a genre of gaming, and obviously today's episode is going to be racing games. All of my recommendations are on the Switch 2. I've mentioned multitude reasons why, with the whole affordability of it at this moment in time. It's the only one that hasn't had a price hike, but it's going to get a price hike on September 1st, so now kind of is the time to strike. And there's a lot of racing games that I can actually discuss and talk about on the Nintendo Switch 2. There's not a lot of hyper-realistic ones. In fact, I genuinely can't think of any at this moment in time. I know Forza Horizon 5, I know firstly it's not hyper-realistic, but it's kind of on the more realism side. It might be coming, because it got ported to the PlayStation, and people was assuming it would come to the Switch, and then basically Microsoft had a complete not an implosion, like the prone to do these days, and suddenly it went from, well, actually this might be coming, to maybe it won't be coming after all, because we don't know what's happening with exclusives. Personally, I'm not into open world racing games anyway, but it is known as a good one. If it ever does come out, it's a recommendation. But now I'm actually going to mention games that I know for a fact exist on this console, because that is, after all, the whole point of this. And as much as I wanted to bring up hyper-realistic racing games, I don't think that's a good place to start. I truly don't. I think that would be like going to a cookery school, taking one lesson and then applying to be a head chef in a Michelin star kitchen. I think if you're going to get a start with racing games, if you've never played them before and you know nothing about them, you go Mario Kart, and it's no ifs, ands, or buts. You go Mario Kart 8 Deluxe specifically, because it is probably the best Mario Kart game in existence. There is one other that is very easily available to you if you pay money. That's the obvious one of Mario Kart World. It's an open world racer, which was not a fan of the open world part, but doing the Grand Prix mode, which, for people who don't know, basically Mario Kart, you beat Grand Prix. That's the whole point. You pick 4 races, which is a kind of cup. So it's the Mushroom Cup, it's the Spiny Shell Cup, it's the Feather Cup, whatever. And the whole point is to get gold in that race. So to win and get gold in the cup, and winning all 4 of them gives you stars. And yeah, that's basically the game's progression system. So the Grand Prix in Mario Kart World are one of the greatest things I've ever played. The first time I ever played through them, it's something that I was like, this is the spectacle, the grandiose, the everything about it. This is what I've wanted from Mario Kart, and I didn't even realise, because Mario Kart's always been about cheap fun and arcadey thrills and flashy lights, and that's perfect. But then Mario Kart World came and did this, and now I'm like, I want more of this. But unfortunately, Mario Kart World doesn't really have a lot more of it, and the more you actually play that one, the worse it gets, because the things that impact you the first time don't impact you the 50th time, and there's so many open straights. So Mario Kart World is still a recommendation. It is still a great game. But you start with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, and there's so many other Mario Karts actually available to you on the Nintendo Switch Online service. I know fine well the Super Nintendo one's available, the Game Boy Advance one's available, the N64 one's available. The GameCube one is not currently at the time of recording. It will, though. And Mario Kart Double Dash is one of the best Mario Kart games ever made. The DS one isn't available yet. The 3DS one, I don't know if it'll ever be available. I imagine they'll start doing DS games, because they've done this before. And with Pokemon Leaf Green coming out, it's a whole thing. We're supposed to be talking about racing. So on top of all of those, you've got access to a load of F-Zero games as well. There's a load on the GBA app, there's one on the SNES app, there's one on the N64 app, there's one on the GameCube app. There's then the Fast Racing games, which one's Fast Racing RMX, I believe, and one's Fast Racing Neo. They are essentially modern-day F-Zero games made by a completely different developer, and they're really fun to get into. There's a bunch of arcadey titles as well, which I'm completely drawing a blank on. That the worst part is I've actually put a load up on my channel. Hotshot Races, I think, was one of them. But anyway, there's a couple of things like that. But no, you start with Mario Kart. Again, get your fundamentals. And I understand this isn't true racing to a lot of people, because this is randomness, this is zaniness, this is arcadey fun. There's weapons constantly attacking you and things like that. And in most racing games these days, weapons are very rare. We used to have genres of combat races. We had your Twisted Metals, we had Wipeout, which was a lot more racing and a lot less combat. Obviously, Twisted Metal was a lot more combat than more racing. We had so many different things. Blur, oh, I remember Blur. Blur was amazing. We had so many racing games where power-ups were actually part of the racing, and now it's just pretty much exclusive to kart races. And I know you can get a Crash Team Racing remake on this, but I was one of the biggest Crash Team Racing fans ever. I still, to this day, think the original PS1 Crash Team Racing is in the top 5 of all-time kart races, and it might be in my top 3. I really do love it above a lot of Mario Kart games, but the remake just didn't hit, just didn't feel right at all, and I don't know why. So, yeah, you start with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, as far as I'm concerned. There is so much content in this game. Like, you will get to play through so many of the greatest tracks because they added 2 full expansions worth of DLC, and one of them was 96 tracks. I think there's... I'm trying to remember the actual overall count. I want to say there's over 180 tracks in this game at this moment in time. I'd probably be able to do that. Maybe it's just that there is 96 and that's why I'm getting mixed up. That when they added the courses, it took it to 96. But if I actually exit, I might be able to kind of do quick math here. I'm at least going to show you, because I have everything, all of the cups. There's so many different tracks, though, that you'll get to play through, from some of the all-time greats on top of some brand new original content. You can even play as Link, obviously, which, why would you ever play as anyone else? This is the one thing about World. If World gives me Hyrule to race in, and I get to play as Link again, I might be endorsing World a little bit more. Right, so yeah, I'm assuming it must be that there's 96 tracks overall, and it wasn't that added 96 tracks, because yeah, it's, as you can see, there's 12 silver cups there. There's then 12 gold cups here. The silver cup, these 4 were originally DLC, but then they come standard with the game. These are the ones that you'll have to buy extra, but you actually get them for free if you're on the Nintendo Switch Online, which again, it's, I know you're not technically getting it free, you also don't technically own it. I know you're technically paying, but it's a really good deal to just pay for Switch Online to get all the classic games that you're going to get anywhere, and then loads of DLC for different games as well. But yeah, you start here, because by playing through all of the GameCube tracks, the Wii tracks, the GBA tracks, and all of that, you'll get some of the absolute greatest hits, and then when you play Mario Kart World, it'll hit with you more, because that's part of the reason why the Grand Prix was so amazing for me when I played through it. There's a bunch of new tracks, but there's also a bunch of completely redone tracks, and it's just the nostalgia of, oh my god, this is my childhood, this is my Super Nintendo days, oh my god, now I'm into the Game Boy days, now I'm into the N64 days, now I'm into the, like, you just go through all of the iterations of Mario Kart by playing that game, and I cried at the end of it. I never expected to cry at the end of any racing game in the history of the genre, let alone a Mario Kart game, but by the time I was done, I was bawling, because it was just pure Nintendo magic. So yeah, if you want to get into racing games on the Switch too, you start with Mario Kart, you end with Mario Kart. There is nothing in between but Mario Kart. And again, there are obviously other things. I've mentioned some futuristic races, and if Forza ever comes here, I honestly wish I could name an actual realistic racer, but I can't think of any off the top of my head on the Switch 2. It's not really known for that sort of racing game. Obviously, Gran Turismo is a PlayStation exclusive, Forza, Project Gotham, things like that, Xbox exclusive, and Gotham's a completely dead franchise. I can't think of anything at all that's a realistic racer. I can only think of the arcadey stuff, so that might be an issue if you want to specifically get into them, but at the same time, I truly do think you get your fundamentals if you've never played a racing game. Learn the basics, because believe it or not, as much as this is arcadey zany fun, it teaches you a lot of mechanics. It teaches you how to drift, it teaches you how to brake turn. Like, if you play 200cc and you never brake, you'll not win. I'd like to see you try. It's definitely... That's the 200cc mode truly is where this game teaches you, okay, you need to brake. Like, I'm on 100cc here just to be able to focus. I never need to brake. I never need to let off the accelerator. I can just do that, to the point of there's literally an auto accelerate built into the game. There's also tilt controls, which became a meme. But anyway, this video's gone on for too long, and I actually need to go make some lunch. So I'm going to see you until next time at Bit Sky Fellowship. I truly do hope you have a great rest of your day. And yeah, if a realistic racer does appear, if something pops up, I'll put it in the comments, is all I can say. But right now, you start with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Right, bye.